Guys, hi, welcome to, what are we on now? Day 19, I think, of B365. I hope you're all well and looking forward to the weekend. If you're anything like me, you're shattered and glad it's Friday. Today's passages, Genesis to start with. Today we just see a bit of sleaze and then some revenge and then some more sleaze. Welcome to life in Genesis. First of all, Jacob's daughter we see gets raped, and then the guy that rapes her then decides that he wants to marry her, to take her as his wife. And so the two dads, they meet and discuss, and the guy's dad says to Jacob, okay, we'll pay you whatever you ask. That's in verse 12. But then Dinah's brothers replied and said, okay, circumcise all your men. They're going to make the most of this. Circumcise all your men. And I think that's going to be more out of revenge than out of wanting to convert them to their religion. They just wanted to have the last laugh, if you like. Circumcise all your men. So this guy says, okay, he goes away. All their men get circumcised. He thinks it's a small price to pay for, if you like, their hidden motives. What they really wanted was to join with Jacob's family, to be one, so that they could basically sponge off their wealth and gain from them. But a few days later we see, while the men, it says, were still in pain, two of Dinah's brothers go and attack the city. They kill all the men and they loot everything else. Note that the law hasn't yet been given. Now when the law comes a little bit later on, there will be set consequences for different crimes. At the moment there's not, and so the family sorts their own justice. And then Jacob hears and he's like, well guys, what have you done? But the brothers just respond that they shouldn't have treated our sister like a prostitute. Maybe anyone that has a sister or a daughter will completely understand where these guys are coming from. I like to think that I have a bit of an arrangement going on with God, that if anyone tries to hurt my wife or my daughter or my son, I'm not sexist, then God will turn away for a minute and let me sort that person out. I'm joking, I'm not recommending doing that. Basically, what is at stake here is family pride. The Shechemites didn't take the rape very seriously. They didn't seem to just know what they'd done wrong. They just wanted to go on and just talk about the wedding in the future. And Jacob probably would have preferred to forget as well and just let them marry, but maybe not get involved with the families, just to move on. But that would have meant forgetting, it would have meant forgiving and overlooking the rape, which her brothers didn't want to do. And so, because forgiveness, if you like, would have been seen as a weakness. And forgiveness, friends, is costly. It is easily misinterpreted. Often it's seen to be a weakness on our part if we overlook something or if we move on. And it's devalued in that way, and yet really it's something that is incredibly powerful. But Jacob's sons weren't too up for forgiveness. But then God told Jacob to go back to Bethel. Now Bethel meant everything to Jacob, unlike where they were at the time. Bethel is where God had met with him before. It's where Jacob had started his walk with God. And so now it's not safe for Jacob in Shechem. God is saying, let's go back to Bethel, back to the start. And then Jacob gets everyone with him to get rid of any foreign gods, anything that isn't of God, if you like, anything that's not pure. He says, get rid of those. Now people would have found security in those, and so to trust Jacob when he's saying get rid of them would have been quite a big thing. But Jacob was wanting to purify everyone, if you like, to have a fresh start, going back to where God had first met with them. And then Jacob is renamed Israel. Israel literally means he struggles with God. And so if you look back over the story of Jacob, we'll see it's quite an accurate name that God has given him. And then soon after that, Jacob's faith, or Israel's faith, is really tested. Rachel had prayed for a son, and then she has a second son, but then dies in childbirth. So that's going to be really hard on Jacob. And then we see Reuben, his son, goes, we don't see much of it, it's kind of just a throwaway sentence. It doesn't seem really to have that much consequence, but Reuben goes and he sleeps with his dad's mistress. Dad then finds out. It's just a bit of an awkward moment, but it doesn't say much else about it. On into Matthew. Jesus, we see, verses 43 to 45, Jesus is talking about an impure spirit. And this is what he says: when an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean, and put in order. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. That is how it will be with this wicked generation. Jesus is talking to the Pharisees, and basically what he's saying is criticising them because they're big on kind of outward cleanliness and purity and doing the right thing, and yet inside there's nothing there. And what Jesus is saying is, don't leave your life clean and tidy but unoccupied. Let Jesus, or if you like the Holy Spirit, live in that empty space where there once was an impure spirit. Otherwise that empty space is just going to get ransacked once again and taken over. And then a little bit later on we see a story about Jesus' mothers and brothers. Now when I was growing up, that story was an endless source of comedy value, just for the number of times in the short passage you can say mothers and brothers, how many times you can get that phrase in. But basically what it's saying on the serious side is that anybody that does God's will is part of Jesus' family. It's not about biological family, but as soon as we count ourselves as one with God, then we are part of Jesus' family, and that's a place that I want to be. Friends, have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. God bless.